Before you watch this episode of our cityCURRENT radio show, I want to invite you to join cityCURRENT's e-learning and online personal development platform called GrowthCurrent. I'm Jeremy Park, host of the cityCURRENT radio show and CEO of cityCURRENT. GrowthCurrent is your exclusive ticket to attend virtual events with global thought leaders, national guest speakers, and experts who can help you grow personally and professionally. It gives you access to success secrets, lessons learned, learning modules, and so much more. Being online, you can join us from anywhere in the world. Subscriptions are only $8 a month, or you can do bulk subscriptions for your team. Check out growthcurrent.com to learn more and to join us in our efforts to power the good. And now, on to the show. Welcome to the cityCURRENT radio show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, powering the good. And we're honored to kick it off with our good friends at New Ballet Ensemble and School. We're here with Katie Smythe, the CEO and Artistic Director, and also London Bruce, who is a teaching artist with New Ballet Ensemble and School. So, Katie, let's start with you. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. I am well. How are you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing well, and I get to kick off with the congratulations because you won the 2020 Thomas W. Briggs Foundation Community Service Award. So congratulations right off the top. Give us a little bit of context in terms of what that award means to you and obviously to your school as well.
Well, thank you, because I share this with our entire team, and that means our team over the last 18 years. My name is on it, but I could not do this by myself. I just want to be very clear. Our leadership is growing. As a matter of fact, we've just brought on Mark Willis as our Chief Program and Strategy Officer in this year. We have people who've been with us forever, like John Washington, who's running this meeting since 2007, and new team members who've just joined in the last couple of years, and we share this with everyone. So it means a lot to me because people I love and admire have been associated with the award, and I'm just humbled to be in their company. It means so much.
Well, you kind of touched on the legacy of what you've been able to create, and there's so much power in terms of the impact. And so that's where even we'll hear from London in terms of what it's meant for her to go through as a student and now obviously as a teacher. But give us a little bit of a history lesson for the organization.
Well, I moved home from Los Angeles and New York, and before that, Minneapolis, in 1997. And I had started as a teaching artist in Los Angeles at the Los Angeles Music Center working with public schools. We toured a production of Cinderella that I condensed into 30 minutes. A lot of the students and teachers were grateful for that. And we'd kick off with workshops and questions and answers. And I started this vision for not just students watching a performance, but being able to do this themselves one day and pay it forward in performance for other students coming from Los Angeles County Public Schools. It had deep meaning for me. So when I moved home, I exercised this mission here at home as best I could, that every child would have access to excellence and high quality teaching, regardless of their ability to pay. And that was 18 years ago.
And I think that's the part where I love what you're doing, because you're bringing world-class training, but also expectations, which holds students and youth to a high standard in terms of what you're delivering is the value, but ultimately what they can do with their own lives. But you're doing that in a way where it's inclusive of everyone, and you're inviting everyone to participate and come together as a community. So dive in a little deeper on this kind of idea of world-class expectations and delivery of service at the same time, accessibility to everyone.
Well, the common myth is that you have to water down excellence to serve students who come from economically disadvantaged backgrounds. That absolutely is not true. As a matter of fact, experts walk in the door. They just need the opportunity, the training, what we call high help and high opportunity, and our bias training that we're going through with Shelby County Schools right now. High perfectionism without high help is pointless. So it's bringing those elements together. So for example, our famous student right now, Charles Lilbrecht Riley, walked in the door as an expert, right? He walked in as an expert in Jukin. He was taught by Mariko Flake. As a kid, he was taught by legacy Memphis Jukin artists. What he wanted and needed was more diversity in his training. So he taught us Jukin, And we taught him ballet. And I tell you, everyone was intimidated to be in the room with him at the time because he was so expert in what he did as a very young dancer, age 16. Well, I think probably it was pretty awesome to look at a ballet class and think, I'm going to learn all of that. I mean, it's a lot of content, a lot of vocabulary, but we taught each other. That's the point. And so it's this family of collaboration around different cultural forms. So a lot of people say, well, why ballet? I didn't intend this to be a new ballet company here in Memphis. That was not my point. The new ballet to me are these beautiful cultural forms fusing together. So that might mean Memphis Jukin and ballet. It might mean hip hop and West African dance. It might be flamenco and tap dance and break dancing. So it's what kind of new art form, how can we bring this into the 21st century? You know, it was 2001 when we first started coming together and make this for everyone in a production like the Nut Remix, where everyone sees themselves reflected on the stage. It was that idea of collaboration and excellence combining. Ballet is essential because honestly, it's the first thing a dancer has to do when auditioning for a college program. And our students aspire to college and career. You cannot walk in that door without being expert in ballet, whether that's right or wrong, whether we agree or not. It is what is required, and it is our job to make our students so highly competitive, no college program can turn them down. Then hopefully our students will go into that program and change it, right? Bring a little bit of home. We have students at NYU fighting to prove that Jukin is a legitimate art form. And they're ballet dancers. So one hand feeding the other, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. And it shows, though, the perspective, kind of the global perspective, and Nut Remix is a good example of that, but the global perspective of what you're doing to infuse all these different flavors together to come up with something special, but also, too, that really is engaging and a lot more mainstream and accepting for everyone to be a part of it. Before we switch over and talk to London, give me one thing that you wish everyone knew about New Ballet Ensemble and School.
That every student can rise if they are given the training and the opportunity, and the bar is high.
It's good. I like that. And that's a perfect segue. So before we officially switch over, give us your perspective, because London started as a student and is now a teacher. And so when you talk about being a teaching artist at New Ballet Ensemble and School, paint the picture of seeing London in this evolution and now obviously working with her.
You're going to make me cry, Jeremy. You are so good at what you do. My vision of London as a little girl at age 10 is sitting in this very room on this floor holding a red balloon in a ballet choreographed by Stephen Tate that we performed at the Buckman Center, and she stood up, and no matter if there were 16 kids on the stage, you could not take your eyes off of London. And it wasn't just the red balloon, it was how London held the balloon. That is an art. And she was an artist at age 10. But I have to say quickly, my husband, Jimmy Gould, if anybody out there knows him, came and he sat there and watched that performance, and he said, if I could invest in anybody on that stage, it would be that kid with the red balloon. So a future leader was evident at age 10. And that is another thing we need to take away from our mission. We need to see the assets and the leadership that comes to the table, and then just be there as adults to say, what do you need next?
That's awesome. So London, let's bring you center stage. So London Bruce, teaching artist. Give us, I think the stage is already set in terms of you starting at age 10 with the red balloon in your hand, but talk about your personal experience and what New Ballet Ensemble and School has meant to you.
Oh my gosh. So yes, I came here when I was 10 years old, not knowing anything about dance entirely, because I started off as an actress. And the only reason I came to the studio is because my mother wanted me to learn more about dance so I could be a better actress. I don't think she knew that she brought me here to then be a full-time dancer, teacher, and not only exploring my avenues with acting, but also incorporating dance and music too. So I always say to everyone, anytime they ask me about New Ballet, is that New Ballet is my second home. I've practically grown up here. I have 3 other siblings who attend here. One just graduated. And so it means a lot to me to still be here. Not only still be here, but also teaching the kids who were just like me coming up in the program. And another thing that I like to say too is that the diversity here. I'm all about diversity as far as the different dance styles. I came in learning ballet, but then I learned about flamenco and I learned about African, and I had no idea what flamenco was, or let alone how to do African dance. But the more I got pushed and the more I watched my teachers and the more I just sat and learned and practiced, I said, I want to do that one day. I practiced, did it, and now look at me, an African teacher, ballet teacher, flamenco teacher. I do it all. And so I really appreciate what I've learned here. And now not only what I've learned here, but also what I can teach too.
Yeah. Share a little bit about, for you personally, and also having your family members go through, you get to see it firsthand as well, is not just with the foundation of dance in terms of what it means for you physically, but also too, the character building, the ability then, almost like public speaking, to then be able to perform in front of others, the discipline that carries over into your schoolwork. There are a lot of things that create this ripple effect in terms of what I think you learn in the classroom there that then ultimately makes you a very different person as a whole. So share a little of just that perspective in terms of the ripple effect that's created in your whole life.
Okay, so growing up, I started off as a shy kid. I was very shy. I was also homeschooled, so I didn't really get the being able to go to school and learn how to make friends. And so coming here, I learned that dance is a way for me to express myself when I don't know how to do it anywhere else. And so when my sisters and my brother would watch me, they noticed how I would open up on the stage. And then that created them to want to think, okay, I want to do this too. I want to be like my big sister. And now I'm looking at my brother who's 11 years old, I'm sorry. He's 11 years old and now performing alongside me in the company doing one of our school shows, Jose Born to Dance, playing as little Jose. And so every time I look at him, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's around my age. He's just like me. And he's following in my footsteps, making friends, dancing alongside me as a company member, and also shining as if he's not a kid. So it's like, I'm very grateful, because as I've grown up and as I've experienced all the things as far as learning how to be on stage, learning how to take how I am on stage and be a confident adult, it's now going into him and showing him the same thing. And so I'm watching him become an even more confident dancer and an even more confident young man, and it's making me a very proud big sister.
Talk about the impact of COVID-19 and how you are teaching now. So give us a little bit of just your world right now with everything that's taken place over the last really 6 to 7 months.
Okay, so yes, I am a teacher here during this COVID pandemic. I went from having, I would say 20 kids to now about 4 to 5 in some classes. It's not a big difference. It's a big difference in the amount of students, but not a big difference in how I'm teaching and how they relate to me. Also, it's a big difference from teaching outside of the studio, where I was teaching this amount of classes here in the studio, to then going outside of the studio and teaching in the inner city schools. Now I'm just teaching here and not being able to go see the other students that are in other schools. So that is a big disadvantage for me. But I've been telling myself to be more grateful and understanding of what's going on, and also appreciate the fact that I'm in a studio teaching kids, and there are dancers like me and teachers like me who aren't doing that. So yeah, that's pretty much me right now. And also how we went from performing in schools to now not performing in schools. But the advantage is we're starting to be able to record our school shows that we performed originally outside the studio. We're now going to record them, send them, so the kids can still get the opportunity to watch what they were going to watch had the COVID not happened.
Yeah. And I think for all of us, obviously, we're hoping and longing for the day where all of this can return to more of a normal, to then open up those opportunities back again, especially for the youth, because it's a huge benefit for them. And so wrap up on your end, and then we'll bring Katie back on. But what's something that you wish everyone knew, based on your vantage point and everything that you know about New Ballet and how much it's meant to you? What's something that you wish everyone knew?
I wish that everyone knew that when they come into New Ballet Ensemble, they're not going to leave. They're going to be attached forever. Like, even if we go off to college and we go off and do our own things, we're going to have a time where we're going to want to come back, whether it's watching Nut Remix, whether it's coming to watch a dance class, coming to take a dance class, coming to either teach, like we have Max Reed who comes and occasionally teaches us dance class. No matter what, New Ballet attaches you so much that you're not going to want to leave. It could be 10, 20 years down the line, you're still going to come back because of the love that you share here, the friendships that you build here, and the family environment that you don't only get at home, but you also get in this safe space.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Katie, let's bring you back on. So Katie Smythe, I think that's a good segue because as London was talking about Nut Remix, that's coming up. So talk about Nut Remix, and obviously it's a little different this year with COVID-19 and the pandemic, but you're still making it work and still getting out there and engaging everyone in the community. So talk about Nut Remix for 2020.
Well, we're the hip, funky Memphis Nutcracker, right? Nut Remix. It's a tradition that we don't want to stop because people count on it to feel like it's the holidays again with all the authentic cultural dance and the inclusivity of the program. So what's better than the drive-in, right? Malco Drive-In. So December 10th and 17th, around approximately sundown, we'll be filling in the parking lot. You're going to get information on our website, newballet.org. It is pay what you can. Thanks to Nike. And their sponsorship, their continuation of sponsorship of this production. It is pay what you can, but there is also an ability to donate. If you want to build more happy stories, please donate to our scholarship fund through your ticket purchase to Malco at the drive-in. We need more of these stories, and you can facilitate that, those of you who are listening. Pay what you can, make a donation. If you need free tickets, arts access tickets are available, and all of that will be on newballet.org website.
And as you mentioned, I mean, obviously throughout the year, donations to underwrite your efforts, to be able to scholarship in students, everything that you do to power the good is so important. So once again, wrap up again with the website, social media, where do we go to learn more and to be in the loop on everything you're doing?
Well, come see Lil Buck in the 2018 Nut Remix with a lot of fantastic guest stars and kids. Visit our website for tickets, newballet.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. There are icons on our homepage that you can just click on to follow. Make a donation, introduce us to someone. You can give online if you can't come see Nut Remix. Just reach out for a tour and we'll respond. You can email me anytime, katie@newballet.org, if you want to take a virtual tour.
Well, Katie, London, thank you for all you and your team do. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.